Hands up. Now, that's the first thing I heard. The cop had his gun pointed straight at my chest. Behind him, Karen. Smirking like she'd just won the lottery, Barbara was frozen, both hands over her mouth, eyes wide in shock. None of them knew the truth. Not the cop, not Karen. Not even Barbara. They had no idea that I was the one who actually owned this entire valley. Every house, every road, every tree. And now I was about to be arrested. In a neighborhood that technically belonged to me. Let me back up a second. My name is Alex Morrison. I'm 42. For 17 years I lived the full Silicon Valley nightmare. Founder and CEO of a tech company. Days. Red-eye flights. Meetings stacked on top of meetings. Then one day, boom. We sold the company, price tag, $9 billion. Half went to partners and investors. Whatever. I still walked away with more money than I could ever spend. So I did what everybody says they'll do one day. I retired at 42. Sounds perfect, right? Yeah, no. Turns out, when you actually can do anything, you have no idea what you want. Buy a mega mansion, private island, penthouse in New York. The more I thought about it, the more tired I felt. I didn't want more luxury. I wanted less noise, just peace. Silence. Somewhere, nobody cared about stock prices, valuations, or exit multipliers. That's when I found Pine Valley. Pine Valley was this quiet little HOA community in the mountains of Northern California. About 250 homes. Clean streets, small parks, no mic. People waved at each other. No one bragged. No one flexed. It looked normal. And for someone like me, that felt like heaven. Then I learned one very interesting detail. The original developer, an older guy named Henderson, still technically owned the entire valley through his company, Henderson Development LLC. The HOA just managed rules, trash, meetings, all that boring stuff. But the land, the infrastructure, on paper, it was still his. So I did something a normal person would never even think about. I bought Henderson's company, quietly, through a chain of shell companies. Lawyers-only NDAs everywhere. Total price, $750 million. Henderson took the money, retired, moved to Florida, and probably bought way too many Hawaiian shirts. And just like that, I became the owner of Pine Valley. All of it. Every house, every street, every park and tree. But I didn't tell anyone. Why? Because I didn't want to be the billionaire guy who owns the neighborhood. I just wanted to be Alex, the new neighbor with the average-looking house. So I bought one of the regular homes for $350 grand. Which is hilarious, because yes, I was basically paying myself. The day I moved in, people were surprisingly nice. Hi. I'm Barbara Chun, president of the HOA. Welcome to Pine Valley. She looked mid-50s, short black hair, sharp eyes, warm smile. She had this calm, natural leader vibe. I'm Alex, I said, just hoping to start fresh here. I'm sure you will, she said. If you need anything, let me know. We also have an HOA meeting tomorrow night. We like to introduce new neighbors. I liked her immediately. Professional, fair, normal. That first night, unpacking boxers in my small, quiet house, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace, of course. It didn't last. The next morning, my doorbell rang. I checked the time, 7 a.m. on the dot. I opened the door, still half asleep, and there she was. Perfectly straight, platinum blonde hair, heavy makeup, cold, judging eyes. Are you the new neighbor? She asked. No hi, no smile, just interrogation mode. Yeah, I'm Alex. Nice to meet. I'm Karen Pierce. She cut me off. We need to talk you Parked your car wrong last night." I blinked. "Wrong. It was in my driveway." "Your tires were over the sidewalk by about 3 centimeters, she said, folding her arms. "That's against HOA rules. I suggest you read them. 3 centimeters. Not a foot. Not blocking traffic. 3 centimeters. Is that... ... "Seriously a problem?" I asked. "Rules are rules," Karen said. "I've lived here 12 years. I care about standards. I won't let newcomers show up and start ruining things." I took a slow breath. This was my first real conversation in my peaceful new life. "Okay," I said. "I'll be more careful." "I hope so," she said. "And another thing, your trash cans. You left them out too long last night." "I moved in yesterday," I said. "I don't even know the trash schedule yet." "No excuses," she snapped. The rules apply to everyone equally. Right then, I saw Barbara jogging around the corner, workout clothes, headphones, morning smile. She waved. When she saw us then, her face changed when she noticed it was Karen at my door. Karen glanced back at her, then turned to me again. "Just a friendly warning," she said, in a tone that was anything but friendly. Then she marched off. Barbara came up to my porch, a little out of breath. "I'm so sorry, Alex," she said. "Karen can be intense." "A bit intense," I said. She rang my doorbell at 7 in the morning over 3 centimeters of tire. Barbara winced. "Yeah, she's very strict about the rules. Don't take it personally. She's like that with everyone." "Everyone." "Everyone," Barbara said. "Last month she filed a complaint about Mr. Watson's yard. He's 84, can barely stand. She still reported him for weeds." That hit me wrong. "You're the HOA president," I said. "Can't you stop her?" Barbara sighed. "The problem is, technically she's not wrong. The rules are written that way. I don't make them. I just enforce them. I try to be fair, but Karen ... pushes them to the limit." I nodded, but in my head I was already thinking, you have no idea who you're messing with, Karen. Over the next few days, it got worse. Every day, a new issue. My grass was too long. My mailbox didn't match the neighborhood aesthetic. Some of my plants weren't on the approved list. Every time, Karen ran straight to Barbara, and every time, Barbara had to send me a formal notice. $50 fines. $100 fines. She apologized each time. "Alex, I'm really sorry. My hands are tied," she'd say. "Once there's an official complaint, I have to act." Karen wasn't enforcing rules. She was using them as a weapon. And I was her new favorite target. About a month in, everything exploded at an HOA meeting. We were in the community room. Fluorescent lights, metal chairs, stale coffee, about 30 neighbors. Barbara was going through the usual boring stuff: budget, landscaping, security lights. People were half asleep. Then Karen stood up. "I have an issue to raise," she announced, holding a thick folder. "It's about our new neighbor, Mr. Morrison." Instant silence. Heads turned. "All eyes on me." "Yes, Karen?" Barbara asked carefully. "In just 1 month," Karen said, shaking the folder, "Mr. Morrison has racked up 32 violations." 32? People started whispering. I raised my eyebrows. "That's a little dramatic, don't you think?" "These are documented," she snapped. "Trash cans left out, noise, yard issues, parking, improper plants. Most of those are tiny things," I said. "We're talking a few centimeters, a couple of minutes. Rules are rules," Karen said, louder now. "You moved in here, acting like you own the place." If only she knew. "But you don't," she went on. "This is our community. If you can't follow our rules, maybe you don't belong here." The room went quiet. Some people nodded. Some shifted uncomfortably. Then old Mr. Watson stood up, leaning on his cane. "Karen, that's enough," he said. "Alex is a good neighbor. You've been on his back since the day he moved in. We all see it." Karen whipped around. "Don't start with me. Your yard is a disaster too." "Karen," Barbara snapped. "That's enough. Meeting adjourned. Everyone, please head home." Chairs scraped. People mumbled their way out. Karen, though, she stayed locked on me. "This isn't over, Mr. Morrison," she said, voice low. "I will get you out of this neighborhood." I walked home that night thinking about the ridiculousness of it all. I was one of the wealthiest people on the planet. I secretly owned the entire valley, and my neighbor, ... was threatening to kick me out of my own house. I told myself to let it go. I came here to be normal, to live quietly. But Karen wasn't done. She was just getting started. A week later, Barbara called me over. She looked exhausted. "Alex, I've got bad news," she said, handing me a coffee. "Karen filed an official complaint. She claims you play loud music, throw parties, disturb the neighborhood at night." I stared at her. "I don't even have a sound system set up. I haven't had a single person over." "I know," Barbara said, "but she got 3 witnesses to back her up. Her friends, of course. So they're lying." "Yes," Barbara said quietly, "but I can't prove it. Why is she so obsessed with me?" I asked. "Control," Barbara said simply. "You stood up to her at the meeting. You embarrassed her. Now she's trying to make an example out of you. So what do I do?" Barbara sighed. "For now, follow every rule perfectly. Don't give her anything. No late trash cans, no borderline parking, nothing. If we're lucky, she'll get bored and move on." She didn't. If anything, Karen escalated. And that's how we eventually ended up with a cop pointing a gun at my chest, ... in a neighborhood I secretly owned. Let's jump back to where we left off. Quiet street ... gun pointed at my chest. Karen smirking behind the cop. Then everything flipped. The whole street went dead silent. You could literally hear birds in the distance. Officer Rodriguez was staring at the documents in Barbara's hands. His eyes kept going back and forth between the paperwork and me. Karen's jaw was practically on the ground. Her little complaint folder had slipped out of her hands and was scattered all over the sidewalk. Barbara held the documents like they were made of glass. Her eyes were wide, her face pale. "Alex, ... quotes," she whispered. "This ... this is real." "Yes, Barbara," I said quietly. "I'm the owner of Pine Valley. The land, the roads, the common areas, every building, including Karen's house." Rodriguez cleared his throat, still processing. "Well," he said, voice now a lot more formal, "it appears we pointed a gun at the legal owner of this entire development." He turned to me. "Double quotes, Mr. Morrison. It seems we made a serious mistake. My apologies." Karen still didn't make a sound. She just stood there, frozen, like her brain blew. Then old Mr. Watson shuffled forward, leaning on his cane, laughing his head off. "So let me get this straight," he wheezed. "She called the cops on her own landlord." He slapped his knee and kept laughing. People started whispering. Some were in shock. Some were clearly enjoying the moment. A few actually looked. "Sorry for Karen. This ... this is a lie." Karen finally exploded. "He's a fraud. He's showing fake documents." Officer Rodriguez's face hardened. "Ms. Pierce," he said, "these are county-verified property records. If you keep making false accusations, we can arrest you for filing a false report and defamation." Karen's face turned even redder. I couldn't tell if it was rage, shame, or both. She spun toward me and pointed her finger at my face. "You did this on purpose," she shouted. "You came here, hid who you are, and set me up." I took a slow breath. "Karen, I moved here to live in peace," I said. "You're the one who harassed me for over a month. You lied. You filed complaints. You made my life hell. Now you know the truth." Barbara finally found her voice again. She lowered the documents and turned to me. "Alex, why didn't you tell us?" she asked, still shaken. All this time, I find you, sent you letters. ... Her voice cracked with guilt. "Barbara," I said softly, "you were doing your job. You've always been fair and honest. You weren't the problem." Barbara covered her mouth with her hand. Her eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Alex," she whispered. I'm so sorry." "You don't need to be," I said. Then I looked back at Karen. "But some people do owe apologies." Karen squared her shoulders like she was gearing up for a fight. "I will never apologize to you," she hissed. "You lied to everyone. You hid who you are. You're the fraud here." Rodriguez stepped between us. "Miss Pierce, that's enough," he said. "Mr. Morrison is within his rights to keep his identity private. You, on the other hand, tried to weaponize the system against him. I strongly suggest you apologize and leave this man alone." Karen bit her lip so hard, I thought it might bleed. Her eyes were shiny with tears, but her pride wouldn't let them fall. She screamed, turned around, and stormed off toward her house. "Karen!" Barbara called after her. The only answer was a door slamming so hard it echoed across the street. For a second, nobody moved. Then Watson started laughing again. "In 60 years living here, I've never seen anything like that," he said. People slowly started to drift toward me. A young mom with a baby on her hip walked up and held out her hand. "Mr. Morrison, I'm Melissa," she said, shyly. "I'm sorry we didn't stand up to Karen earlier. We were scared." "You don't need to be scared anymore," I said, shaking her hand. "And please just call me Alex. Mr. Morrison sounds like a bank." She smiled. "Okay, Alex, welcome. For real this time." A middle-aged guy stepped forward. "Next, Alex," he said. "I've lived here 10 years. Karen's been running this place like a dictatorship for a long time. We've all been afraid of her. Thank you for exposing the truth." "I just defended myself," I said. "I didn't come here to stir anything up." "Maybe so," Tom said, patting my shoulder, "but seeing her finally face consequences, that's a relief for all of us." Officer Rodriguez turned to me. "Mr. Morrison, we'll file a report noting what happened," he said. "If she harasses you again or tries anything else, call us. I'll flag your address personally." "Thank you, officer," I said, shaking his hand. The cops got into their cars and left. Neighbors slowly headed back to their homes, still whispering, still looking back at me with a mix of curiosity and respect. Soon it was just me and Barbara. "Alex," she said, taking a deep breath, "can we talk privately?" "Sure," I said. "Come inside." We went into my living room. Barbara sat down, buried her face in her hands, and stayed like that for a moment. "I'm a terrible HOA president," she said finally. Her voice was breaking. "The owner of Pine Valley moved in, and I had no idea. I find you, sent you letters, treated you like any other resident. ... double quotes. Her hand went to her chest, like she was short of breath. "Barbara." "Hey," I said, sitting next to her. "You're a great president. Karen manipulated the system. That's on her, not you." "But I should have been stronger," she said. Tears were in her eyes now. "I knew Karen was a bully. I knew she used the rules against people. I was just afraid that if I pushed back too hard, she'd try to remove me as president. That doesn't make you weak, I said. It makes you human. And for what it's worth, everyone sees you as fair. You always tried to do the right thing. Barbara finally gave me a shaky smile. Thank you, Alex, she whispered. You may have billions of dollars, but you're still humble and kind. Money's just numbers, I said. I came here for peace, remember? Not power. Barbara stood up, wiping her eyes. I should call a meeting, she said. Tell everyone about the ownership, the documents, everything. No, I said quickly. I don't want some big dramatic announcement. The people who need to know? No. Let's keep daily life the same. She stared at me like I'd just said I didn't want oxygen. Alex, you own Pine Valley, she said. You could change everything. I don't want to, I said. This place is already good. Karen was the problem, and I'd rather not turn this into the kingdom of Alex. Barbara nodded slowly, but there was a shadow in her eyes. I've known Karen a long time, she said. She doesn't just drop things. She's proud. She's vengeful. She's not going to let this go. What do you think she might do? I asked. I don't know, Barbara admitted, but I wouldn't underestimate her. Then we stay ready, I said. Barbara walked toward the door, then turned back. One last question, she said. Why here? Why Pine Valley? I smiled. Because it's quiet. It's beautiful. It's far from everything, I said. Henderson built this place chasing a dream. I wanted to protect that dream, not turn it into some billionaire circus. Barbara's eyes welled up again. You really are... ... Something different, Alex, she said softly. Then she gave a little wave and left. That night, lying in bed, I replayed the day in my head. In the morning, I'd had a gun pointed at me. By evening, my neighbors were treating me with respect. It was a weird shift, but a good one. Still, Barbara was right. Karen wasn't the type to walk away. The next morning, my phone started ringing at 6 a.m. I groaned, grabbed it. Hello, Alex. It's Barbara. She sounded panicked. You need to get outside. Now, come to the main park. I sat up straight. What happened? It's Karen, she said. She did something. Just hurry. I threw on clothes and ran. The main park sits right in the center of Pine Valley. When I got there, around 20 neighbors were gathered under the big oak tree. They were all staring at a massive banner. It was tied up high, stretching between branches. In huge, angry red letters, it said, Alex Morrison is a fraud. He's lying to us. He's not the real owner. Underneath, in Karen's messy handwriting, was a bullet list of evidence. All lies. All nonsense. My jaw clenched. When did this go up? I asked. This morning, Barbara said, coming up next to me. Around 5. Mr. Watson goes walking at dawn. He saw it and called me. Watson hobbled over, shaking his head. That woman's gone crazy, he muttered. Middle of the night, out here hanging this garbage. Anger boiled in my chest. This is defamation, I said. Every word on that banner is a lie. We know, Melissa said, bouncing her baby. No one believes her anymore. But this, this is too much. Tom folded his arms. I can take it down and we can call the police, he said. She's clearly harassing you. I took a deep breath. No, I said, let me handle it. Just ... Give me a little time. Barbara looked at me like I'd lost my mind. Alex, what are you going to do? She asked. I'm going to talk to her, I said. You're kidding, Barbara said. After everything she's done to you, you still want to talk? Because this isn't just about rules anymore, I said. She's scared and cornered. People like that do crazy things. Maybe. Maybe I can stop it from getting worse. Watson snorted. You're too optimistic, kid, he said. She doesn't deserve your help. Maybe not, I said, but I'm going anyway. Karen's house looked the same as always from the outside. Perfect lawn, perfect flower beds, perfectly aligned patio chairs. I walked up and rang the bell. Silence. I rang again. Karen, it's Alex, I called out. I'm not here to fight. I just want to talk. After a long pause, the door cracked open. Karen stood there. Her hair was a mess. Her eyes were swollen. Her makeup was smeared like she'd cried all-nighter. Never bothered to wash it off. What do you want? She said, voice flat and cold. I want to talk, I said. Can I come in? She hesitated. Then she rolled her eyes and opened the door fully. Do whatever you want, she muttered. My life's ruined anyway. Not like you can make it worse. I stepped inside. Her house was ... spotless ... not a speck of dust. Everything lined up. Labeled, controlled. It was like stepping into her personality. We sat in the living room. She crossed her arms tight over her chest. Why are you doing this? I asked gently. The banner. Telis. What do you think you're going to gain? Karen glared at me. You ruined my life, she snapped. Everyone's laughing at me. Yesterday, at the grocery store, people were whispering, that's the woman who attacked her own landlord. Do you have any idea what that feels like? Karen, this is the result of your own choices, I said calmly. You filed false complaints. You called the cops on me. You tried to throw me out. The truth was always going to come out. But you hid who you are. She shot back, pointing at me. You lied first. Keeping my net worth and ownership quiet isn't illegal, I said. Harassing people and filing false reports is... She went quiet. Then she dropped onto the couch, shoulders sagging, and covered her face with her hands. I just wanted control, she said, voice muffled. I wanted everything perfect. I wanted people to respect me. To listen to me? Why? I asked softly. She stayed quiet for a long moment. Then the words started coming. My husband left me 3 years ago, she said. Walked out, said he was sick of me. My daughter doesn't talk to me anymore. I lost my job last year. Everything ... fell apart. The only thing I had left was this neighborhood. The HOA. The rules. If I controlled this, at least I controlled something. For the first time, I didn't just see the screaming, rule-obsessed Karen. I saw a broken, lonely person clinging to the last thing she could control. Karen, I said, I'm sorry you went through all that. Really, but hurting everyone around you doesn't fix any of it. It just pushes people away. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. What do you want me to do? She asked. Say sorry. Nobody's going to forgive me. Maybe not right away, I said, but if you're serious about changing, you can start. Take down the banner. Apologize to Watson, to Barbara Todeo Terrace. It'll be hard, but it's the right first step. She stared at me like I'd grown a second head. Why, oh, you forgive me, she said quietly. After everything I did to you. Yeah, I said, you were awful to me. No sugarcoating that, but I believe in second chances. If you really want one. She looked at me for a long time. Then something in her expression cracked. Shame, regret, and maybe a little hope. Okay, she whispered. I'll do it. I'll take it down. I'll apologize. I don't know if anyone will believe me, but I'll try. That's all you can do, I said. When I walked back toward the park, Karen was right behind me. Neighbors were still gathered under the banner. They went quiet when they saw her. Karen walked up, took a deep breath, and spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. I was wrong, she said, about Alex. About a lot of things. I let my own issues turn me into a bully. I'm taking this down. And I'm sorry. You could feel the discomfort in the air. Some people looked away. Some nodded slightly. No one rushed over to hug her, but nobody screamed at her either. She untied the banner and rolled it up. For the first time since I'd moved in, she looked ... small. Barbara came to stand next to me. "You did that?" she whispered. "I talked to her," I said. "The rest is on her." Before Barbara could answer, a black SUV pulled up near the park. Two men in suits got out, carrying thick files and that very specific government-adjacent energy. One of them walked straight toward us. "Alex Morrison?" he asked. "That's me," I said. He held out a hand. "I'm Samuel Greenberg, County HOA Oversight Committee," he said. "We need to speak with you." Urgently, he opened a folder and pulled out a stack of papers. "Mr. Morrison, we've received a formal complaint," he said. "Serious allegations of abuse of power, financial misconduct, and threats against HOA members." Barbara's face went white. "What? That's insane!" She yelled. "Alex hasn't done anything." Greenberg didn't even blink. "The complaint is anonymous," he said. "But if these allegations are true, Pine Valley HOA could be dissolved. And your ownership position could be challenged." My heart started pounding. Anonymous.serious. Timed perfectly. Someone wasn't just mad. Someone was playing a bigger game. So, what do you think? Was it Karen making one last move, ... or someone with even more to gain? If you like HOA drama stories, stick around, because in the next part, we find out who's really pulling the strings. And trust me, ... nothing is what it looks like. Samuel Greenberg looked at me like I'd personally broken the law on live TV. Next to him stood a younger guy in a suit, holding a tablet, typing non-stop. "Mr. Morrison," Greenberg said, voice flat and cold, "this is a very serious matter. The complaint against you is detailed and specific." He glanced at his tablet. "You're accused of abusing your position as owner, misusing HOA or related funds, and using threats and intimidation against members." My jaw dropped. "This is completely false," I said. "I've never done any of that." Barbara stepped forward, hands balled into fists. "Mr. Greenberg," she said, "I've been HOA president here for 10 years. Alex is one of the most honest neighbors we have. These accusations are completely baseless." Greenberg turned his icy stare to her. "Miss Chun, your name is also in the complaint," he said. "The complainant alleges that you and Mr. Morrison are working together, that you've been helping him cover things up." "What?" Barbara's face flushed bright red. "That's ridiculous. I've followed the rules my entire life." Mr. Watson slammed his cane on the ground. "Who do you think you are?" he shouted. "Coming into our neighborhood and accusing Alex and Barbara of this nonsense? They're the best people here." Greenberg shifted toward him. "Mr. Watson, we'll hear from you as well," he said. "But if you want to help Mr. Morrison, you should cooperate. This is a formal investigation." I took a deep breath. "Fine," I said. "Run your investigation. I have nothing to hide. But first I want to know one thing." I met his eyes. "Who filed this complaint?" Greenberg frowned. "As I said, the complainant requested anonymity." "Anonymous is convenient," I said. "But whoever wrote that knows a lot about Pine Valley, about the HOA, about me. This isn't some random troll." Barbara leaned closer to me, whispering, "Alex, you think this is Karen again?" Karen was standing off to the side, arms wrapped around herself. She looked pale, nervous. "No," she blurted. "I swear, it wasn't me this time. I didn't do this." I looked at her eyes. For the first time since I'd met her, I saw something that looked like ... honesty. "I believe you," I said quietly. Karen blinked, stunned. Greenberg raised a hand. "Discussion is over for now," he said. "From this moment forward, all HOA decisions are frozen until the investigation is complete. No spending, no new projects. I'll be reviewing all records, All emails, all meeting notes. Some neighbors gasped. If the allegations are proven true, he continued, the HOA could be dissolved, and Mr. Morris's ownership position could be legally challenged. My chest tightened. So I could lose Pine Valley, I said. Even if I bought it legally. If the sale and your actions damaged the HOA or violated regulations, Greenberg said, yes, that is a possibility. The crowd erupted. That's insane. Alex saved this place. This is wrong. But some neighbors stayed quiet. You could see doubt in their faces. Greenberg's words had hit their mark. Thank you for your time, he said stiffly. We'll be in touch. He turned and walked away with his assistant, leaving a storm behind him. That night, Barbara sat at my dining table, surrounded by piles of paper in her laptop. I had my own files open. We were buried in documents. Look, Barbara said, pointing at one folder. These are the original transfer documents from Henderson's company to you. Everything was filed with the state. Your lawyers did everything by the book. And these, I said, tapping another stack, are HOA bank statements for the last 2 years. I haven't touched a single cent. In fact, I've put money in, not taken it out. Barbara nodded. Right? 2 weeks ago, you donated $5,000 for the new park equipment, she said. You didn't even want your name on it. Only I knew it was you. Exactly, I said. So whoever wrote that complaint is either misinformed or lying on purpose. Barbara leaned back and rubbed her temples. But that doesn't tell us who it is, she murmured. Who knows Pine Valley this well? Who hates you enough to go this far? I stared at the paperwork, thinking. Barbara, I said slowly, when I bought Pine Valley from Henderson, was there anyone else interested? Anyone who wanted it, but didn't get it? Barbara frowned. I don't know all the details, she said, but Henderson had a daughter. Emily, she was involved in business, I think. Maybe she wasn't happy about her father selling. It's possible, I said, but why wait 2 years? Why now? Maybe she just found out you moved in, Barbara suggested. Maybe she thought you were some faceless investor, not their neighbor. I sighed. Whoever it is, I said, they're not going to stop with just one complaint. Barbara's eyes hardened. Then we don't wait either, she said. We fight back. The next morning at 9 a.m., we walked into Greenberg's office downtown. My attorney, Margaret Chang, was already there. Sharp suit, sharper eyes. She was a real estate law specialist, and she did not come to play. Mr. Morrison, Greenberg said as he led us into a conference room. We're beginning our formal review. Please sit. Margaret set her briefcase on the table and opened a thick file. Before you begin, she said coolly, we want to know who filed this complaint. Under California law, for an investigation with this level of consequence, the defense has a right to know the accuser. Greenberg hesitated. The complainant requested anonymity. Anonymous complaints are not acceptable in serious legal proceedings like this. Margaret sighed, her voice firm. If the accusations could cost my client his property, his reputation, and the stability of an entire community, we need a name. She leaned forward. Either you disclose the complainant, she said, or this investigation stops right now. Greenberg exchanged a look with his assistant. Then he sighed. Fine, he said. The complaint was filed by Emily Henderson, daughter of the former owner of Henderson Development, LLC. Barbara's hand flew to her mouth. I knew it, I said quietly. Margaret didn't even look surprised. Ms. Henderson has made similar emotional claims in other real estate disputes, she said. This should have been disclosed to us from the beginning. Mr. Greenberg, your decision to move forward on an anonymous basis is questionable at best. Greenberg shifted in his chair. Our job is to investigate every complaint, he said stiffly, and to ignore frivolous ones. Margaret shot back. Now let's see what you actually have. For the next hour, We went through everything. Every allegation, every email, every bank record, every HOA vote. Margaret moved fast. "Here you allege misused funds," she said, tapping one page. "But here is proof. Alex donated his own money. 5,000 to park upgrades, 10,000 to trail repairs. No withdrawal from HOA accounts. Here you insinuate intimidation," she continued, flipping to another section. "But the only threat mentioned is Alex warning someone that repeated harassment might result in legal action. That is called a boundary, Mr. Greenberg. Not intimidation." His assistant grew quieter and quieter. Finally, Greenberg put his pen down and looked up. "Mr. Morrison," he said, voice noticeably softer. "Based on what we've reviewed, your ownership appears fully legal. There's no evidence of fund misuse. No proof of threats or coercion. It seems Emily Henderson was pursuing a very personal grudge." Barbara exhaled, shoulders dropping. "So Alex is cleared?" she asked. "Yes," Greenberg said. "The investigation is closed. HOA operations can resume as normal." "Miss Chun, you remain president." Margaret leaned forward. "And Emily Henderson?" she asked. "She launched a false and damaging campaign against my client." "We'll be addressing that," Greenberg said. "Knowingly filing a false complaint is a serious offense, and if Mr. Morrison wishes to sue—" "No," I said immediately. Everyone turned to look at me. "Alex," Margaret said, surprised. "She tried to destroy you. She attacked your name, your ownership, your community. You have every right to go after her." "I know," I said quietly. "But I don't want to drag this out. Emily's not just angry. She's hurting. Suing her won't fix that. It'll just make everything uglier." Barbara stared at me like I was from another planet. "You seriously want to forgive her?" she asked. "After all this?" "Maybe not forget," I said. "But yes, I'd like to talk to her, face to face." Margaret shook her head, but there was a tiny smile at the corner of her mouth. "You're not like my usual clients, Alex," she said. "That's kind of the point," I replied. Our work with Greenberg was done. But something else was just beginning. It was time to meet Emily Henderson. We tracked down her office address in San Francisco, high-rise building, glass and steel, downtown energy. Margaret offered to come with me. I told her I wanted to go alone. I stepped into the lobby and went up to the front desk. "I'm here to see Emily Henderson," I said. The receptionist eyed me like I might be delivering bad news. Which, technically, I was. "Do you have an appointment?" she asked. "No," I said. "But tell her, Alex Morrison is here. She wanted to see me." She raised an eyebrow but picked up the phone. A couple of minutes later, she hung up. "Ms. Henderson will see you," she said. 17th floor, office 203. In the elevator, my heart was pounding. What kind of person would Emily be? Angry? Defensive? Completely unhinged. The door opened. I found her office and knocked. "Come in," a woman's voice called. I stepped inside. Emily Henderson looked to be long light brown hair pulled into a neat ponytail, elegant blues, tailored blazer, expensive watch. Everything about her screamed control and success, except her eyes. Her eyes were tired. "Mr. Morrison," she said, not bothering to stand. "I didn't expect you to come here." "Miss Henderson," I said calmly, closing the door behind me. "I heard about your complaint. The investigation is over." She closed her eyes for a second. "I know," she said slowly. "My lawyers called. They said it didn't go the way I wanted." Her voice cracked just a little. "Why did you do it, Emily?" I asked gently. "Why try to hurt me? Hurt Pine Valley?" She finally looked straight at me. "My father built that valley," she said, and there were tears in her eyes now. "For years, it was all he talked about. His dream. His legacy." She swallowed hard. "Then you came along," she said. "And you took it. He sold it to you for what I still believe was less than it was worth. A few $100 million, and it was gone. She shook her head. I begged him not to sell, she whispered. We argued. We stopped speaking for a while, and then ... He died. Heart attack, just like that. I felt a twist in my chest. I'm sorry, I said quietly. I really am. I admired your father. I paid what he asked. I didn't cheat him. I know that, she said, voice sharp. On paper, you did nothing wrong, but every time I drove past Pine Valley, all I could think was, he sold his dream, and this stranger is living in it. She wiped her eyes with the heel of her hand. When I found out you actually moved there, ... double quotes, she continued, and then that you secretly owned the whole place, it felt like you were gloating. Like you were living inside the life that should have been mine. So you decided to destroy mine. Primetta sighed softly. Emily winced. I thought you were the villain in my story, she admitted, so I attacked you like one. There it was, not pure evil, just pain. Weaponized. Emily, I said, walking closer but keeping my voice calm. I didn't buy Pine Valley to flip it, or gut it, or turn it into luxury condos. I bought it because I saw what your father saw. I wanted to protect it. She gave a humorless laugh. Protect it, she said. You own everything. You could bulldoze it tomorrow. But I haven't, I said. Look at the records. Have I raised fees? Cut services? Drained the HOA? No. I've donated, improved the trails, fixed the park. I don't even tell people it's me. I just want the community to thrive. She went silent. Your father didn't sell his dream, I said. He passed it on. He just didn't pass it to you. And that hurts. I get that. But I'm not your enemy. She sank back into her chair, shoulders sagging. I wanted him to be proud of me, she whispered. To say, Emily, you'll take over after me. Instead, he said, I'm tired. I'm selling. I want to rest. Her eyes filled again. And then he died, she said. Now I'll never know why he chose you and not me. For a moment I forgot about the complaint. The investigation, Charles. All I saw was another person who'd lost someone and didn't know what to do with the grief. Emily, I said softly, sitting down across from her. You can't fix the past. You can't redo that decision. You can't bring him back. I paused. But you can choose what you do with what he left behind. She looked at me, confused. What do you mean? She asked. Pine Valley is still here, I said. The trees he planted, the streets he planned, the park he designed. The people who live there. His dream didn't die. It just ... changed hands. I smiled. Let me show you, I said. Come to Pine Valley. Visit. See what your father built and what we've done to keep it alive. She hesitated. After everything I did to you, she said quietly, I tried to ruin you. I know, I said, and I'm not pretending that was okay. But you're a human being in pain, and I believe people deserve second chances. She studied my face for a long moment. Then she nodded. Okay, she whispered. I'll come. I want to see it. A week later, Emily came to Pine Valley. Barbara helped organize a small gathering at the main park. Neighbors came. Kids ran around on the new playground equipment. Even Karen showed up holding a tray of homemade cookies like she was auditioning for a fresh start. Emily walked slowly through the park, eyes scanning every corner. The photos didn't do it justice, she said softly. It's beautiful. Barbara walked beside her. Your father had a real vision, Barbara said. He didn't just build houses. He built a community. Emily swallowed. And Alex? She asked quietly. What has he done? Barbara smiled. He's funding a new community center, she said. Meeting rooms, after-school programs, a small gym. He's expanding your father's dream, not erasing it. Emily turned to me. You really love this place, don't you? Say. I looked around. At the kids laughing on the swings. At Mr. Watson telling some story to anyone who would listen. At Karen standing awkwardly near the snack table, trying to blend in. Yeah, I said, I do. Pine Valley saved me as much as I saved it. Emily's eyes filled again, but this time the tears were softer. I thought you stole my inheritance, she said. Now I see you've been protecting something my father loved. She stuck out her hand. I'm sorry, Alex, she said, for the complaint. For the lies. For all of it. I shook her hand. I forgive you, I said. And if you ever want to be part of this place, in a good way, there's room. She smiled, a little shaky. Maybe there is something I can do, she said. For Pine Valley, for my dad. You already have, I told her, by being here. As the sun started to set, Emily said her goodbyes and headed back to the city. Barbara came up beside me, slipping her arm through mine. You changed everything, she said quietly. You helped Karen face herself. You helped Emily heal. You saved Pine Valley from that investigation. I shook my head. We did it, I said. This community did it. I just refuse to fight fire with fire. Barbara smiled. For someone who owns an entire valley, she said, you're surprisingly normal. I laughed. Don't ruin my reputation, I said. We both turned to watch the park one more time. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Big mistake. Hello, I answered. Mr. Morrison? A woman's voice said. It sounded familiar, but I couldn't place it. This is Sarah Mitchell from the California State Real Estate Office. My grip tightened. Yes, I said slowly. Is there a problem? It's about your Pine Valley property, she said. We've found a serious issue. It appears there was a recording error in the original transfer documents. My heart dropped. What kind of error? I asked, my voice suddenly dry. A procedural mistake at the time of filing, she said. If this error is confirmed, it could invalidate the entire sale. I froze. Barbara was watching my face, her smile fading. What are you saying? I asked. I'm saying, Sarah continued, you need to come to our office tomorrow morning. This is very serious. If the error is upheld, you could lose legal ownership of Pine Valley. The line went quiet for a second. Please be here at 9 a.m., she added. Don't be late. She hung up. I lowered the phone slowly. My hands were shaking. Alex, Barbara asked. Her face was pale. What? What was that about? There's a problem, I said. My voice barely came out. With the paperwork, with this Solly. If they're right, I could lose everything. The valley? The house? All of it. Karen, who had been hovering nearby, hurried over. Alex, what happened? She asked, worry all over her face. You look like you've seen a ghost. There might be a filing error. Primera, Saeed Noon, a mistake big enough to wipe out my ownership. Barbara grabbed my hand. We'll fix this, she said firmly. Like we always do. Together. But inside, I was terrified, because this time the enemy wasn't a neighbor with a bad attitude. It wasn't a bitter daughter with a grudge. It was the system, paperwork, bureaucracy. And beating that might be the hardest fight yet. So what do you think? Is this recording error just an honest mistake? Or the start of a bigger conspiracy? Let me know in the comments. That night, I didn't sleep. Not even for a minute. My brain kept looping the same question. What if we really lose Pine Valley? If the state voided the sale, if the records were wrong, what would happen to all these families? To everything we built here, part_4_final_high-K. At 6 in the morning, someone knocked on my door. Of course, it was Barbara. Coffees in her hands. Determined look on her face. "How'd you sleep?" she asked. She already knew the answer. "Terrible," I said. I didn't sleep either," she admitted, stepping inside. "But I kept thinking about one thing all night." She put the coffees on the table and looked straight at me. "Alex, you've done the right thing every single time," she said. "You forgave Karen. You forgave Emily. You fought for all of us. Now it's the universe's turn to show up for you." I tried to smile. The fear in my chest didn't move. "I really hope the universe is listening," I whispered. At 8, I called Margaret Chun. I told her everything Sarah Mitchell had said on the phone. Margaret was silent for a long second. Then she exhaled. "Alex, this is serious," she said. "Mistakes in title records can blow up an entire sale. But don't panic. I'll pull my best real estate team. We'll go to their office this morning and go through every document. No loopholes, no loose ends." "Marguerite, I don't know what I'd do without you," I said. "We're family, Alex," she replied. "Barbara's right. Pine Valley is a family, and families protect each other." At 9 a.m., the three of us stood in front of the California Department of Real Estate. Big glass building. Cold. Intimidating. Somewhere inside, people who had never set foot in Pine Valley could decide our fate with one signature. Sarah Mitchell met us in a conference room. Mid-40s, serious glasses. Glasses low on her nose, thick file in her hands. She sat down, opened the file, and looked at me. "Mr. Morrison," she began. "During the sale from Henderson Development LLC to you, our office found a serious discrepancy in the land records." My throat tightened. What kind of discrepancy? But he made a ask it. Sarah pointed to a page. "There's a 20-acre parcel on the south side of Pine Valley," she said. "On paper, that piece does not belong to Henderson. It's listed under a completely different company." Margaret leaned forward. "Which company?" "Golden State Properties," Sarah said. "Formed about 30 years ago. The company has been inactive for a long time. We can't even locate the owner. Part_4_final_high-K." My stomach dropped. "And what does that mean for us?" I asked. My voice was shaking. "It means," she said carefully, "your purchase of Pine Valley may be incomplete. If those 20 acres were never properly transferred, you can't legally claim you own the whole valley. In the worst case, that could invalidate the entire sale." Barbara gasped and covered her mouth. "But there are hundreds of families living here," she said. "You can't just erase a whole community because of a paperwork glitch." "I understand," Sarah said softly. "That's why we're talking to you in person. We want to help. But first, we need to track down the owner of Golden State Properties. We need to know what that land really is, and who it truly belongs to." Margaret was already scribbling notes. "We'll dig into Golden State," she said. "We'll go back 30 years, if we have to. Shareholders, everything." Sarah nodded. "You have 3 days," she said. "If this isn't resolved in 3 days, we'll have to suspend the Pine Valley transaction. That means freezing HOA activity, potential property value collapse, and a legal mess that could take years to untangle." Part_4_final_high-K. When we walked out of the building, my legs felt like jelly. Barbara grabbed my arm. "Alex, breathe," she said. "We are going to fix this." I asked, "How do you find a ghost company from 30 years ago? The founder could be dead. The files could be gone. Everything could be lost." Margaret put a hand on my shoulder. "Alex, you used to negotiate billion-dollar deals," she said. You're a CEO. Treat this like a complicated puzzle. And you, my friend, are very good at puzzles. I took a deep breath. Okay, I said. Let's get to work. The next 3 days were some of the most intense of my life. Margaret's team dug through old property records. I combed through corporate databases, chasing Golden State properties. Barbara camped out in local libraries, pulling dusty newspapers no one had touched in years. Part_4_final_HICA Day 1. Almost nothing. We found that Golden State Properties was formed in 1994. Founder, a man named Robert Sullivan. No phone number. No address that still existed, just a name. Day 2. Barbara burst into my kitchen holding a photocopy. I think I found something. Suited. It was an old newspaper photo from a charity event. In the picture, a smiling man in a suit, standing next to a woman. The caption read, Robert Sullivan and his wife, Patricia Sullivan, at the opening of the Pine Valley Foundation. The Pine Valley Foundation, ... I whispered. Then I looked at Barbara. Barbara, you genius. We dove into whatever we could find on the foundation. It was created when Pine Valley was first being built, a nonprofit to support community projects. The foundation had closed 15 years ago. But in the old records, there was still a phone number. Patricia Sullivan's number. My hands were shaking as I dialed. 1 ring, 2, 3. Hello? A frail woman's voice answered. Senora Sullivan. My name is Alex Morrison. I'm the current owner of Pine Valley. I need to talk to you about Golden State Properties. Part_4_final_HICA silence. Then she repeated the name slowly, like pulling it out of a distant memory. Golden State? I haven't heard that in years, she said. My husband Robert started that company 30 years ago. But then everything changed. What happened? I asked gently. She sighed. Robert and Mr. Henderson were partners, she said. They dreamed up Pine Valley together, but they had different visions. Robert wanted a community, a center, a place where people actually knew each other. Henderson wanted profit. In the end, they split. Robert formed Golden State Properties and bought 20 acres on the southwest side of Pine Valley. He wanted to build a community center there, Part_4_final_HICA, but he never built it, I said quietly. No, Patricia whispered. He died of a heart attack at 47. Center never happened. And I... ... I couldn't bring myself to sell the land. It was his dream, so it just stayed there. Untouched, a memory with a deed attached. My heart hurt for her. Mrs. Sullivan... Do you still own that land? I asked. I believe so, she said. I never sold it. It's just ... Sitting there, I took another breath. Senora Sullivan, what if we finished what Robert started? I said. What if I build that community center on your land? We could bring his dream to life. If you'd be willing to sell that parcel to me, Pine Valley would finally be legally whole. Robert's vision and Henry's vision would meet in the middle. Part_4_final_HICA long silence. Would you really do that? She finally asked. Would you really build Robert's dream? I promise, I said. We'll name it the Robert Sullivan Community Center. Everyone who lives here will know his name and his legacy. She started to cry. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you so much. Robert must be smiling right now. The next day, Patricia Sullivan came to Pine Valley. She was 80-2, silver hair, kind eyes. Barbara hugged her like she'd known her forever. Neighbors gathered around her like she was royalty. Mrs. Sullivan, welcome, Barbara said, squeezing her hand. Your husband helped start Pine Valley. We want to honor his legacy. part_4_final_hike. Patricia looked around, eyes wet. He would have loved this, she said. People laughing, knowing each other, helping each other, ... He never wanted just houses, he wanted hearts. Margaret laid the documents on my kitchen table. With a shaky hand, Patricia signed the deed. She sold us the 20 acres, ... for $1. Not for the money, for the dream. We went back to the Department of Real Estate with the new papers. Sarah Mitchell flipped through the file, then looked up with a smile. Mr. Morrison, she said, you resolved the issue. The Golden State Properties parcel is now in your name. The Pine Valley sale is complete and fully legal. Congratulations. Part_4_final_hike. Barbara threw her hands in the air. We did it! She shouted. Then she grabbed me and spun me around like a kid. Margaret actually smiled. Which, if you know Margaret, is a big deal. But the story didn't end there. Not even close. That night, we called an emergency community meeting. The clubhouse was packed. Karen.Emily. Mr. Watson. Melissa. Tom. Everyone. Barbara stood at the front, microphone in hand. Neighbors. She began. This week Pine Valley almost lost everything. A mistake in old records put our entire community at risk. But Alex, Margaret, and a whole lot of digging later, we fixed it. Pine Valley is safe. Part_4_final_hike. The room exploded in cheers. People stood, clapped, whistled. Mr. Watson banged his cane on the floor, shouting, "Bravo!" When the noise finally died down, Barbara raised her hand. But this isn't just a victory, she said. This is a new beginning. She nodded toward Patricia in the front row. Alex told us Robert Sullivan's story, she continued. Now we're going to fulfill his dream. On those 20 acres, we're going to build Robert Sullivan Community Center. More applause, Patricia cried openly. Emily sat next to her, holding her hand. Primera stood up. The community center will have a library for kids, I said. Activity rooms for seniors, a gym for everyone, and a big community garden where we can grow our own food and flowers. Because Pine Valley isn't just a neighborhood, it's a family. Part_4_final_hike. In the back, Karen slowly stood. Her voice shook, but she looked me right in the eye. Alex, I want to say something, she said. In front of everyone. She walked to the front, took the mic. I treated you horribly, she said. I harassed you. I lied about you, made your life harder on purpose. But you forgave me. You gave me a second chance, and now, ... I want to do something right. I'm donating $10,000 to the community center. From the money my husband left me, want it to finally go to something good. Part_4_final_hike. The room went completely silent. Then everyone stood and clapped. Karen cried and laughed at the same time. Barbara wrapped her in a hug. Emily stood up next. I want to donate too, she said. $25,000 in my father's name. He loved Pine Valley. And now I do too. Mr. Watson pushed himself up with his cane. I'm in for $5,000, he shouted. We'll buy gym equipment for the kids. Melissa called out, $2,000 from me. Tom followed with $3,000. One by one, neighbors stood. Some gave large amounts, some gave small. Everybody gave something. By the end, we'd raised $80,000. Part_4_final_hike. Barbara turned to me, eyes shining. Alex, do you see this? She said. You gave us a community. Now we're giving you a community center. I shook my head. My voice cracked. No, I said. We're giving this to each other. That's what families do. 3 months later, the Robert Sullivan Community Center opened its doors. The building was beautiful, warm, open, full of light. Hundreds of people came to the ribbon cutting. Patricia held the scissors. Emily stood beside her holding a framed photos of her father. Karen brought trays of homemade cookies. Barbara had organized every second of the event. Part_4_final_high. I stepped up to the mic. Today, we're not just opening a building. I said, we're celebrating a dream. Robert Sullivan's dream. Old Man Henderson's dream. And our dream. Pine Valley isn't just a subdivision. It's a home, a family. And today, that family got stronger. Applause. Cheers. People hugging everywhere. Barbara came over and squeezed my hand. Alex, you created a miracle, she said. You came here looking for peace. And you ended up giving us hope, forgiveness, and love. Part_4_final_high. I looked her in the eyes. No, I said softly. We gave it to each other. I'm not just some rich guy anymore. I'm part of Pine Valley. And Pine Valley is part of me. That night, we held an outdoor concert in the garden behind the center. Music playing, kids running. Couples dancing under string lights. Karen and Patricia sat together, talking like old friends. Emily chatted with young families, sharing stories about her dad and Robert. Mr. Watson showed off cane tricks to a circle of kids who thought he was a legend. Part_4_final_high. Margaret walked over. Alex, you did a good thing, she said. But I have to ask, you're still a billionaire. Are you really going to stay in Pine Valley forever? I smiled. Margaret, I spent years chasing the next big deal, I said. The next win, the next number in the bank. And I was never happy. Here, I found real wealth, relationships, friendship, community. I'm staying. This is home now. Part_4_final_high. She nodded. Good, she said. Because Pine Valley can't afford to lose you. Later that night, I sat on a bench in front of the new center. Happy faces everywhere, lugging kids, dancing couples. Barbara sat down beside me. What are you thinking about? She asked. I'm thinking about how 6 months ago I came here just to hide, I said. I wanted quiet. To disappear. But I found so much more. I found a family, a purpose, and I found myself. Part_4_final_high. Barbara put a hand on my shoulder. And we found you. She said, you're the heart of Pine Valley, and we want you here forever. Double quotes. Karen walked up, holding a tray. Alex, Barbara, try these, she said shyly. New recipe, lavender cookies. I made them because of your garden, Alex. I took a bite. They were amazing. Karen, these are incredible, I said. You're really talented. Her face lit up. Do you really think so? She asked. I was thinking, maybe one day I could open a little cafe in the community center. Serve homemade desserts and coffee. That's a fantastic idea, Barbara said immediately. I'll help you with the permits, the licenses, everything. Karen smiled. A real smile this time. Thank you, she said, for everything. For giving me a second chance. Part_4_final_high. Emily came over with Patricia on her arm. Alex, Emily said. Patricia's been telling me stories about my dad and Robert. They fought for the same dream in different ways. Both of them wanted Pine Valley to be a true home. And now it is, I said, standing up. If they were here today, I think they'd both be smiling. Part_4_final_high. Patricia wiped her eyes. They are here, she said. In the trees. In this building. In these people. Someone shouted for everyone to gather. The entire community formed a huge circle around the center. Hand in hand, hundreds of us. Barbara took the mic one last time. "Pine Valley family," she said, "tonight we didn't just open a building. We made a promise to stand by each other, to show up in hard times, to keep acting as a community, because we're not just neighbors, we're a family. Part_4_final_high-K." People clapped, shouted, cried, laughed, every emotion in the book. I stood in the middle of that circle, looking at every face, Karen forgiven and finally free, Emily at peace, honoring her father, Barbara strong fair, the backbone of this place. Patricia no longer alone, her husband's dream alive, Watson, Melissa, Tom, and everyone else. All of them my family now, Part_4_final_high-K. And in that moment, I finally understood. Real wealth isn't numbers on a screen. It's love in people's hearts. 6 months later, the Robert Sullivan Community Center became the beating heart of Pine Valley. Every day, kids filled the library. Seniors stretched in yoga classes. Teens played basketball in the gym. Neighbors worked side by side in the community garden. Part_4_final_high. Karen opened Sweet Karen's Cafe. Small, cozy, always smelling like fresh coffee and warm pastries. She had 150 customers in the first week. For the first time in her life, she looked genuinely happy. Emily moved to Pine Valley. She bought a small, charming house and started writing a book about her dad and Robert. She called it Two Visions, One Dream. Part_4_final_high-K. Barbara stayed on as HOA president, but now she was lighter, happier, more confident. After surviving the Karen crisis, no one ever doubted her again. Mr. Watson spent his days in the garden teaching kids how to grow things. "People are like plants," he'd say. "They grow with love and attention." And me? I stayed. I wasn't the real estate king anymore. I was just Alex, neighbor.friend.family. Mornings in the garden. Evenings with Barbara, Karen, Emily, and the others at long shared dinners. Weekends full of community events. Part_4_final_high-K. My life had never been this simple, or this rich. One evening, Patricia visited. "Alex," she said with a smile, "Robert's dream came true, and so did yours. You found the peace you were looking for, and you gave something beautiful to the world." "Thank you," I said. "But this isn't just my work. We built this together. Pine Valley is a dream we all created." Part_4_final_high. As the sun set, I sat on the same bench in front of the center. Kids laughed. Families picnicked. Music floated through the air. And I smiled because I was finally home.